The best way to listen to music at the Louise M. Davies Symphony Hall is to drive by it late at night, 17 years old, listening to your favorite band. I don't have to tell you about these nights. You've had your own. The windows roll down, the sky black and blue, those secret, unsupervised nights, dreaming that someday your life will actually take you someplace, that someday this music, this beautiful information will win the day. A decade later, I was living in New York, trying to be a writer. I knew someone who was producing game shows for MTV. She told me they were having trouble finding smart people who were free during the daytime to be contestants. The show was called Idiot Savants, and if you made it to the final round, you stood in a glass tube, and they barked questions at you about the area of your expertise. My area, I had decided, would be the band I listened to over and over again since I was 17. The other contestants were an unemployed actor, another unemployed actor, and a former winner of the National College Quiz Bowl. Guess who won? But before that happened, I made it to the finals and I got in a glass tube. I might have gotten even further, but MTV decided that my chosen area of expertise was wrong for their show. Since I had majored in literature in college, they decided my new area of expertise would be American literature. I stood in the tube and they asked me about Nathaniel Hawthorne's family and the exact publication dates of Edgar Allan Poe. It was like defending a PhD dissertation if you didn't know anything. I began to laugh, and I couldn't stop. I laughed so hard I was almost crying. If I'd answered even one question correctly, I would have won a trip to San Francisco. But my area of expertise had been denied me. All that beautiful information now useless. All those secret, unsupervised evenings wasted because nobody wanted to know what I knew about Eurythmics.
10 years ago, as he was starting his dissertation in the Department of Ethnic Studies at UC Berkeley, my friend Ricky Vincent heard a scratchy, muffled recording of a live concert that pretty much rocked his world.
It was in two chunks, and one of the songs was cut in half, and I couldn't tell if it was the tape that was cut or, if that song could be recovered or not.
Ricky was sitting in a booth at Stanford University, listening to a tape from the archives of Huey P. Newton. He'd just found a lost recording of the Lumpin'.
I learned about the Lumpin' from a conversation with Boots Riley, the lead rapper of The Coup, and he told me he heard somewhere that somebody said the Black Panthers had a band.
When you think Black Panthers, you probably think of leather jackets and revolution and shotguns on the steps of the California State Capitol. But the party also ran free medical clinics and political education classes and published a newspaper that was distributed around the world. Every week, Panther members would gather in San Francisco to bundle up the latest newspaper. In that small distribution office on Fillmore Street, the party's Minister of Culture, Emory Douglas, heard three brothers singing, putting their own twist on radio hits. One of them was Bill Calhoun.
People would sing along with us and all that, and it was something that lifted people's spirit, made the work easier.
Calhoun had been singing since he was a child. By age 15, he was performing as Billy King and bringing home $1,000 checks to his church choir parents. When the Watts riots jumped off, Calhoun had a regular slot at a club in North Beach.
The reaction of the club owner, who I thought, we were friends, when he started talking about them niggas were doing all this stuff up in Hunters Point, it hit me that yes, I am Billy King, but I'm also one of them niggas. And that kind of changed things for me.
Yeah, I know, man.
We're closing the door. There won't be no more.
Won't be no more.
There won't be no more. Won't be no more. Right on.
It was hard, yeah.
Times we stood by.
When I met Calhoun and the other lumpen members a few weeks ago in Oakland, it was their first time reuniting in 40 years. It didn't take much coaxing to get them to sing for me. They may sound a little rusty now, but back in spring 1970, the men sounded good enough that Emory Douglas got approval from party leadership to form a band. They rewrote popular songs of the day with revolutionary lyrics.
Instead of saying dance to the music, it was power to the people.
That's lumpen member James Mott.
We had a jumpsuit and the blue shirts. They were pretty cool, but they were handmade. And then after that, we started getting our own outfits and uniforms.
Lumpen members didn't get to live like rock stars. They had more pressing party duties, security detail and the newspaper, and programs like free breakfasts in the community. Sometimes they would leave a show at midnight and be serving grits to children at 6 a.m. But in the winter of 1970, it was decided that the lumpen would go on tour. They traveled to black colleges around the country and performed for a crowd of 15,000 at the Panthers Constitutional Convention in Philly. The show they remember most fondly was their last hometown performance, the night before they left. They played at Merritt College in Oakland for an overcapacity crowd of about 900 people. The tape my friend Ricky found was a bootleg recording of that night.
To all the revolutionaries that have given their lives in the cause of freedom throughout the world, we the lumpers respectfully dedicate this song.
They have an interlude where they acknowledged all these Panthers that were killed by law enforcement, using the song as an opportunity, to kind of respect the people in this struggle.
It was their version of Curtis Mayfield's People Get Ready.
It was more of a metaphor for the movement, the freedom train, and the lumpen flipped it around and said, people get ready, the revolution's coming. You don't need a ticket, you need a loaded gun.
So by the time the lumpen went on tour, the Black Panther Party had already begun this winter. FBI raids were on the uptick. There were rumblings from some members that the party should be focusing on more serious matters than an R&B band. And Bill Calhoun's priorities had shifted too.
I met a woman in the party that I had felt very deeply about. She became pregnant. She left. And one night, I was on security at National Headquarters, and the police pulled a practice vamp about 3 o'clock in the morning just to intimidate us. I was sitting there with my piece of technical equipment in my hand, and I was thinking about my pregnant girlfriend. And suddenly, that was the first time in my life this didn't seem quite as important. I woke up one morning, and a little voice in my head said, "Get up and leave now."
He did, and he left the Panthers soon after that. My friend Ricky Vincent ended up writing a book about the lumpen called Party Music, inspired by that tape he found. It's coming out this fall. The thing that impressed him most of all was the inextricability of the band's music from their work as rank-and-file members. They didn't see making music as any different from serving grits or bundling newspapers. Songs, to them, were a vehicle to serve the revolution. Thank you.